their songs again. When I got to the garden party, they all knew my name. No one recognized me. I didn't look the same, but it's alright now. I learned my lesson well. You see, you can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself.
All right, 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Tuesday morning. It's time for You've Got a Garden. Carol Ann Baldwin is your host, and she'll answer your questions about your lawns and your gardens. And the phone number to call Carol Ann right now is 622-WOCA. That is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline, 622-9622. Good morning, Carol Ann. How come I don't hear you?
I don't know. Am I there yet?
There you go. Thank you.
There we go.
I'll learn how to work this stuff one of these days.
Well, one day. I got to make sure I'm going to turn mine because I don't sound like I hear me very well.
No?
No. Oops, that's worse. I don't hear you.
I don't know.
There we go.
Yeah?
I'm back.
You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you better. Yeah.
And got a phone call already. Ready to jump right in?
Let's go ahead and jump in.
Okay. Good morning. You're on there with Carol Ann.
Good morning, Carol Ann.
Morning.
This is Kenny.
Yeah.
Got a gardening question for you.
Okay.
I, for the first time, I was kind of late planting my mustards this year. They are right now right at about 4 weeks old.
Uh-huh.
And they're going to seed already.
They're bolting, yeah.
They are not mature even enough to actually eat. You know, usually when I send them out, I'll eat them as I'm sending them out.
Right.
They're not even at the size where I'm ready to send them out yet.
I think we had a lot of heat early, and I think it just set things off. Like you said, you were a little late planting them, and that's probably about the best I can say on that. I don't know how much regular irrigation you get in order to that it could be, because too we also dropped down on the amount of rain we got. We're not getting that every week inch or so of rain that we were getting throughout the winter, and it has dried somewhat and the temperatures shot up. I know this week's been wonderfully cool until yesterday and today. But I think we just heated up too quick for them.
Okay. So I guess then, is that to say that it's too late for me to attempt planting mustards this year? I
would probably wait and do a fall crop.
Okay.
I just think you'll have a better success.
Just FYI, I just got to share with you. I have been harvesting collards off of the same plants now for, this will be the 6th year next month.
Wow.
Have you ever heard of that before?
That's amazing.
I'm 6'2". My collards are taller than I am.
Wow.
Yes.
That is amazing, because I think most people just go ahead when most of the time they'll start to just get bitter or tough late into the season, and of course they always seem to be better once we have that first frost in the in the wintertime. They do, but I'm surprised that they're still going strong and that long.
When I get a chance, I'll take a picture of it and send you an email on them.
All right, sounds good.
But hey, listen, just thought I'd share that with you. Hey, thanks for the info.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, now
okay,
that's some big collards. That's because most people, I think, they'll go through and they'll harvest what they're going to use, and they'll keep going for a while. But then I think they want to, most people want to clean out the garden. The weeds start getting to be too much or whatever. You want that space in order to rotate through the garden a lot of times. And so they may still be producing, but they pull them out anyhow, just in order to be able to rework, or we're going to move the garden, or we're going to put new irrigation line down, we're going to till some more compost and some more manure into the garden, so that most people will pull things like that out and not let them keep on growing. And I'm surprised, because they'll even try to bolt as it gets too hot in the summertime. But if he's still picking, hey, more power.
And that's collards, like
collard greens,
okay,
right?
That's the one thing I can't warm up to for eating. Do you like them?
I like greens. I just I'm not real good at cooking the collards and the mustards. I can cook spinach
Well, see, I
and the
don't
ones
cook
that are a
anything.
little more mild.
I go to like a
Yeah.
buffet and I don't touch them
Oh, see, I'll get me some green.
because I've tried them and they're like really bitter for me or something.
That's when they're not cooked right.
But this is a restaurant. You would think they would do it right.
You got to get, yeah, I don't care for, a lot of times that's your mustard greens will be a little more bitter
Oh,
than
maybe
your
that's what it
collards
is.
will be. And so sometimes you'll mix them in together to get that little bit of,
But it's really healthy, right? That's what
Oh,
they
they're
say.
good for, oh yeah, all your dark green leafy vegetables are fabulous for you, so long as you're not on a potassium restricted diet.
Oh, really?
Yes, because they have a lot of
Oh,
potassium.
you overdo the potassium.
Right.
Really? I didn't
Yeah,
know
you have
that.
to, if you have a potassium restriction in your diet, you're supposed to limit your consumption of greens.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Something
I'm
that-
learning so much
So
today.
on a simple garden party, you get your nutritional stuff too.
Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Good morning. I have a question. I have a black plague towards azaleas, and the ones I had last year died in the ground, so I got some from Bob, whatever, Camellia Garden.
Okay.
And now they're getting brown again. I water them every day. I've given them azalea food, and they just keep on getting browner and browner. The only time they get sun is around this time in the morning, and then they don't get sun the rest of the day.
They do not get sun the rest of the day?
No.
When you're putting them in the ground, you're not just slipping it out of the pot and dropping it in the hole, right? You're working the
Well,
roots out?
Well, I left them in the pot this time so I can move them around if I need to for the sun.
Well, that's going to be what's going to kill them.
Okay.
Yeah, they can't
So I
live in
gotta-
those pots. Once those roots hit the side of the pot and then they bend and go down to the bottom of the pot and then they bend again and they begin to circle around the bottom of the pot, that plant right then is already declining.
Okay, so
So-
I got to open up the roots and put them in the ground.
And put them in the ground. Don't bury them any deeper than what they're growing. Is this a, do you know which variety of azalea?
It starts with a D. I think it starts with a D, like a French-sounding name on it, I think.
Oh. I'm not, because we've got like the formosas are the real big ones. Do you know what color the flower is?
Pink.
Say again?
It's a
Pink one?
flower.
Is it one that just blooms in the spring or multiple times during the year?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I talked to my mother. She's a master gardener, and she said that it's a common variety.
Oh, okay. So probably it might be the formosas. Give them room. They are a big one, a pretty good sized plant. And the amount, if it's just getting sun from here, about 9 a.m. till 10 or 11 or?
Yeah, probably around 10 or 11 because I have a lot of oak trees, and
Okay.
then all of a sudden they get shaded.
Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. That should not be too much sun. When you put them in the ground, I would get a couple bags of black cow, bust them
Okay.
open into the area where you're going to plant them. Don't just amend the hole that you dig. Amend the whole area, and that way that
Okay.
feeds that whole thing. Work those roots out real good, and don't plant them any deeper than what they're growing. Don't set a hose on them to water them. Go out there and water them with like a watering can, something. Put a gallon of water on them every day for the first week or so, every other day for the next couple of weeks, and then gradually cut back the frequency as well as the amount of water.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah, that sounds like, and I hear in a way sometimes, occasionally the question of, can I leave this in the pot? And usually when the plant material is ready for sale, it is ready to go in the ground. You don't want to keep it in a pot for any extended time. If it's the type of thing that someone gave you a plant for a gift and you're going to go out of town for a month, okay, you can keep it there so long as somebody's going to water it for you, because in a pot they're going to dry out more quickly than they would in the ground. Putting them, if you do have to hold them, putting them in a little more shaded location than what they would normally want to be. If it was a sun-loving plant, you still don't want to stick that out in the full sun again because it's going to dry out real fast. But if it's a plant that goes in the ground, not a little teeny, well, even little teeny pints, you don't want to leave them in those containers for any extended time. When you buy them, they're ready to be planted. They're ready to go.
So if we took that pepperonia,
Right.
our amazing pepperonia
Yeah.
plant that we got from Kenny's place,
Right.
if we took that out of the pot and put it into the ground in my yard or somebody's yard,
Right.
what would it get gigantic?
It would have a tendency to get bigger, but that is a house plant. So come winter, it could freeze and die.
Okay, which it almost did, remember?
Right. But if you took that, because it went from I think it wasn't even a full size quart pot.
Yeah,
I think even part of the top of
pot
that
is
was
in
cut
this
off.
one you put it in.
And this is and we put it into a pot that was a little bit bigger than what it was, and that's been over a year ago.
Oh, yeah, at least over here. Does it need a
Probably
bigger pot now?
It may need a bigger pot now. And what we normally do is we just step it up one size when you're talking about house plants or potted plants, and that way it's going to grow, but it's not going to be lost in the pot. And the roots will have enough room, and it's good for another year or whatever for a house plant. But if you stepped it up bigger, it's going to grow larger. If you notice, every time you step a plant up, it gets bigger.
Yeah.
And so that's one
That's
way.
kinda cool.
If you think to the more artistic way of bonsai, what do? They keep them in small pots. They
Yeah,
trim the roots and keep them smaller. Even if you wanted to keep that plant smaller, the peperonia or other indoor plant, you would prune them like you would prune anything else to keep the top down. And maybe annually in early spring, take it out of the pot, take off some of those roots, put in fresh soil, potting mix, replant it, and let it go for another year or so.
So explain the difference, potting soil and
Potting
what do you call it, potting mix?
Potting mix generally contains no soil. It's an organic blend of vermiculite, perlite, maybe some ground pine bark. There's no actual dirt or sand or anything like that in it. And it's a lighter form, it's a lighter mix than what you would use in the ground. Potting mix is for flower pots, garden soils for in the ground, or garden mixes.
I didn't never know that. So what do we have in that? Well, you did that one. So
I think it was a potting mix.
Wow.
Just a little bit. You've got.
It's an amazing plant. I mean,
it's a great little plant. It looks wonderful.
Survived and thrives. And
I would say it's at least twice the size, if not 3 times the size of what it was.
You know how I know it's bigger? Because I remember when you first put it in that pot.
And it was it looked puny.
Looked big.
Yeah.
Now the pot looks small.
Right.
Right.
And all we did was step up at one size on the pot.
It's a nice looking plant.
Yeah.
Good morning. Is it the only real plant we have in here?
No, you got 2 other plants.
Oh, that's right. Good morning. You're on there with Carol Ann.
Good morning. I am calling because I have a patio tree. I have a patio plant, it's a fig tree. It's been in the same pot for about 5 years.
Okay.
I don't want to put it in the ground because I live in the county and I have a septic tank and I know exactly where those roots are going to go. Do I take it out and shave the roots down and put it back in with a new mixture, or do I expand the pot, or what do I do?
You've got you said it's a patio the Ficus benjamina?
Yes.
Okay, so it's the one that's going to be really angry at you if you do anything to it.
But there's no dirt left.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying that the Benjamin, it seems to be the one that if you just move it 2 inches over from where it's at, it drops all its leaves just for the heck of it. It gets mad. Yeah, pretty much. If you want to try to keep, if you want to try to keep it in the same pot size that it's in, just that you don't want it to. Don't want to have to keep getting a larger and larger pot because you wouldn't have room. It would be the matter of taking it out, cleaning off some of those outer roots. It will shock it. It will upset it. Putting new mix in there because, like you said, it doesn't have any left. It has used up every bit of nutrition. Using a slow release fertilizer. Most of the potting mixes all contain slow release fertilizers.
Okay.
So doing that and just putting it back where it was living and realizing you'll probably have to do a little TLC for it for at least probably a couple months just to allow it to recover from abuse, basically.
Well, I bought this plant at Walmart. We used to have sugar gliders, and I put it in their cage, and the gliders are playing it. I mean, it was small.
Right.
One of those little square things. That thing is over 4 feet tall now, and I whacked the top of it off because it was getting in my light.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
it's a happy camper. So
there you
okay,
go.
It's good to know it will come back.
Yeah, it should. Yeah, it should. They are tough They are tough plants. It's just they do have that tendency that if, and I've seen people do it. They've moved it because they had someone staying that needed a special. Brought in a special recliner for them or something like that, and they moved the plant down the front window a little bit, and all of a sudden all the leaves fell off. But with those, they will recover from it, and I would just go through, take it outside, dump it out of the pot, realize the roots that are taking and making a full 90-degree turn really aren't doing much for the plant, so you could cut off some of those. Cut off some of the roots that are, encircling around the bottom, put some nice fresh soil in there, and give it a good drink.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And looks like you have another phone call.
Great.
Good morning. You're on there with Carol Ann.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I have two questions, Carol Ann.
Yeah.
On the sunflowers I had out there next to the vegetable garden.
Yes.
There was a mammoth. I imagine
Okay.
they would have got 10 feet tall.
Right.
They're about 2 feet tall, thick, about as thick as your thumb.
Right.
And the big leaves, but the flower was not even beginning to show to open. And something came and ate those in the 3 nights. There was 6 of them. They ate 2 a night. Right down to the ground, and not a leaf left anywhere.
Yeah. I know.
I'm thinking raccoon or possum.
Raccoon is a good possibility. I had them doing some corn plants on me like that. I think it would be more apt to be the raccoon, and or squirrels. Squirrels, I don't think they would eat them all the way down. I have seen them climb up and gnaw off the flower head, let that drop go down and go attack it. But it sounds like it's probably raccoons.
Yeah, it was at night.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh, and my other question is, I have the nice tomato plants going. They're about 5 feet high. They're in 7-gallon containers. And if I go out of town for 3 or 4 days, I'm wondering about, I have to water them every 2 days, or they start to wilt, but they come right back up. Putting them under a carport where they don't get any sun, and then put them in, I have no one to water them, and put them in a big bucket that's filled with water to keep them moist for 4 days, or is that too moist?
I think that's going to be too wet, but I would bring them up under the carport and water them to the point where it runs out right before you leave. Right, water them well. You might even water them well the day before or two. To the point where water them real slowly, so you know that that's really saturated. And they should even come back up. And keeping them cooler, keeping them out of the sun should be able to keep them moist enough. You said how many days you'll be gone? About 4?
4, yes.
Yeah, they should be able to make that, because it's going to be your 2 days. And it sounds like you've got quite a bit of soil in there to be able to hold enough moisture.
Oh yes, yeah.
So I would water them thoroughly, basically as you're getting in the car going out the door.
Yeah, I'm going to water them that morning.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Have a good day.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah, with anything like that, it gets kind of tough when you've got nobody to come by and water, and here you go, your fruit's forming, you're getting some tomatoes on the plant. They may not be ripe yet, but and you got to go away and try to keep them watered. They do make some things that some of them you can buy out of the catalogs. It'll hold a 2-liter soda bottle. It'll screw onto them that you can fill up and poke into the ground. But no, 2 liters of water may not do a whole lot for a big pot like that. But if it's well watered, that might even keep them watered long enough. I'm not sure if you might find them in some of the garden centers, a little 4-pack or something, and then have the soda bottle. But those work best if initially the plant is thoroughly watered. But don't let anything sit in a saucer of water or in a bucket of water. It's just going to be too much. You cause rot first.
And you have another phone call. Good morning. You're on there with Carol Ann.
Good morning, Carol Ann.
Morning.
We're talking about the soils and stuff. Depending on where you plant your plants, whether produce or flowers or what, if you have a soil that has the right material in it, it'll hold the water for quite a few days.
Right.
Whereas in general, like your grass, I have grass here, and it rained like crazy there, and then the next day you go out there and you dig, and there's no moisture to speak of in the sand. It looks dry.
Well, it may look dry to us, and it may even feel dry to us, but to a plant, it's a different thing. Like he said, with his tomato plants, he's got to water about every other day, which that's pretty good in a container when it's out in the full sun, because those containers will evaporate a lot faster. That's
Right.
In the soil, anytime when you're amending the soil, that's exactly what you're doing, is you're making the water holding capability better.
Right. Well, that was the other thing I originally wanted to talk about. Yesterday afternoon, I went into our local big box store, and I'm looking for some topsoil. I couldn't believe all the different varieties and actually the prices.
Right.
Everything from compost, and some of the bags were broken, and you could see it was just dark-looking plant material that not quite 100% decomposed.
Right.
And then you had the regular soil, and that, looked like the regular black stuff. You could ball it up and make a little ball out of it.
Right.
And then they have gardening soil. Then there's, like you were mentioning, potting soil.
Right.
And, naturally the prices went along accordingly also. But
certainly.
There had to have been like 5 different types of
there's
soils or whatever.
There really are. And it's one of those things people think that say they need to amend a spot in the lawn. They have an area that maybe they had a bad chinch bug problem and it really damaged a section of the yard. So their lawn mowing guy tells them, well, just go out and get some sand. Well, you can do that. You can do basic sand and help that grass to grow back over, or somebody will tell you, use topsoil, and like you go in there and there's, oh my goodness, there's the store brand, there's a name brand, and maybe one in between on the price of that, and then there's a lawn soil, and then there's the black cow, and then the store brand of a cow manure. There's a lot of different selections out there for dirt.
Well, anyway, I just didn't, I never realized that there was that much of a selection of different types of material. But anyway, glad to hear you talk about it.
All right, well, thanks.
Hang up.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. And I'll expand on that a little bit, especially for the lawn, because the chinch bugs will be coming out. It is May if they haven't already started finding people's yards. May and June, chinch bug season. Be on the lookout if you have St. Augustine. But when you have to do those repairs in there, that there is topsoil. Oh, I'm hearing some music, so we'll have to come back and talk about that. At least I can hear it.
That's your 30-second warning. Yeah.
That's right. Well, we'll talk about it on the different soils that you can use within the lawn in order to repair those bad spots. And so if you haven't, if you need some pointers on that, get your paper handy.
Well, we've got more of You've Got a Garden with Carol Ann Baldwin after the break. We'll take that break right now, and we'll be right back. This is The Source, WOCA Ocala.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. It's the busiest day of the primary season so far in the fight for the Senate.
There's a Tea Party versus establishment showdown in Kentucky with businessman Matt Bevin taking on Mitch McConnell. In Georgia, a crowded field of candidates appears headed for a runoff this summer. In Arkansas, Republican Tom Cotton and Democrat Senator Mark Pryor are running unopposed and will meet in the fall.
Fox Radio's Rachel Sutherland.
In Oregon, the question is, will pediatric neurosurgeon Monica Webby hold on to her lead in the GOP primary in spite of allegations she stalked her ex-boyfriend?
The most destructive of the San Diego County wildfire said to be about 90% contained now. And actor Michael Jace, who plays a police officer on The Shield, has been charged with homicide. According to authorities, his wife found dead in their home last night. Jace has also had roles in Forrest Gump and Planet of the Apes. Fox News. We report, you decide.
Right now, Now at Napa, get your favorite flavor of Valvoline Conventional or Max Life Motor Oil for just $3.59 a quart. Buy 5 quarts and you'll also get a $7 mail-in rebate. Yep, $7. Enough to get a plate of bacon with a side of bacon smothered in bacon. Now that's tasty. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 5/31/14.
And now, another golf confessional brought to you by Golfsmith. A man told us every time he tees off, he hires a gallery to scream, "It's in the hole!" just like the fans on TV. This started after he went to Golfsmith and picked up the Callaway HX Bite Balls with tour-level spin. He got 2 dozen for $35. He said if he's going to stop the ball on the green like a tour player, he wants fans like a tour player. Pick up the Callaway HX Bite Balls, 2 dozen for $35, exclusively at Golfsmith.
Black Cow, the mature manure Black Cow.
We often mention enriching your native soil with Black Cow when you prepare a flower bed or vegetable garden, or plant new shrubs and trees. Adding Black Cow helps retain moisture and adds millions of healthy microbes to your soil. Healthy soil means healthy plants, but you can also top dress with Black Cow composted cow manure even after planting. You can come back a month or 2 later and spread Black Cow on top of the soil around the root zone of a shrub or tree, or spread it evenly over a flower bed or rows of vegetables in your garden. Black Cow releases nutrients slowly. It won't burn tender roots because it's fully composted. Look for the bright yellow and black bag at your favorite nursery or garden center. And visit the website too at blackcow.com.
Black Cow, the mature manure Black Cow.
Your home is safe, or is it? AA Lock, Dock, and Security. The name has been a staple in Ocala since 1985. Do you have the right equipment in place to have peace of mind when you are at home or away? AA Lock, Dock, and Security has the right people to install and monitor your home or business. Call today for a free on-site security analysis. Call 867-1965. AA Lock, Dock, and Security, 219 Northwest 10th Street, 867-1965.
Hi, this is Carol Ann Baldwin. I quit fertilizing flowers and vegetables the old-fashioned way. Now I use Dynamite Premium Plant Food. With its easy earth-friendly patented coating, there's no risk of over-fertilizing. Dynamite Complete Plant Food releases nutrients for 7 months, so there are no highs or lows during the growing season. Dynamite Premium Plant Food contains complete nutrition, including micronutrients like copper, magnesium, iron, and zinc. This gives my plants explosions of blooms for both veggies and flowers. When I use Dynamite Premium Plant Food, I only have to use it once every 7 months, and don't worry about the nutrients washing out with heavy rains or irrigation. To learn more about the Dynamite family of products, go to dynamiteplantfood.com. Dynamite Premium Plant Food is so easy to use that you'll spend less time working in your garden and more time enjoying it.
This is the Salvation Army, and I'm Major George Patterson to let you know that the Salvation Army is available 24 hours a day to provide help to anyone. We also have a family store at 120 Northwest 10th Street in Ocala. On Tuesday to Saturday from 9 to 4, you can do your shopping, or if you want to donate, you can call 352-732-4469, and we'll even pick up 352-732-4469. All funds generated by our store go into the programs here in Marion County to help the needy.
All right, thank you, sir. 25 minutes before 10 o'clock, Carol Ann Baldwin is here with your answers to your gardening questions. And if you have 1 or 2 or 3 or just want to converse with Carol Ann, it's the same phone number. It's the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline, 622-WOCA.
And as we were saying before the break, Sonny brought up a point that he went into the big box store and went looking for some soil to do a little fill-in in the yard, and realize the different costs and how many different products there are. And it is amazing. I just made a little quick note, just doing on lawn repair, just as products, you've got 4 right off the bat. Say you have to repair a spot in the lawn that's either been damaged by insect problems, fungal issues, anything like that, or a low area needs to be filled in. We had always said just to go out and go get you a bag or 2 of sand, just general purpose playground sand and fill the area and feather that into the existing lawn. That will encourage the grass to grow back across it, which that's fine. Sand is weed free, but it also has no nutrition. So it's not doing much except it's not doing much except filling that low area and giving the other grass a base to try to grow across. And then you've got to step up, and the cost on that, actually, sand isn't really that cheap for what you're getting for sand. It's not really that cheap. So you step up and you've got topsoils. And to me, topsoil is not a whole lot better than sand. I mean, Florida topsoil is, you look at what Florida soil is. It's sand. It's just that topsoil has the organic material that came from nature that's still in there. But you've got your store brands and you've got your name brand. The store brand ones are going to be, of course, way less expensive than, say, the name brand. The only difference is going to be with your name brand, it may have been screened a little bit for weeds, where the other one probably not at all. Okay. But both of them can contain weed seed. So when you're thinking about you're going to do that repair in the lawn, there might be a little bit of weeds in there that you may have to contend with in a few weeks. Then you can step up to the lawn soil, which that is a name brand product. But it is, it has some fertilizer in it. It has organic material in it. It is weed free. It has been screened, or it has been treated, heat treated to prevent weeds, so that you're not going to put down a problem while you're trying to correct a problem. Because you may have just sprayed off an area because you had dollar weeds so bad, and you're going to put some sod in, and you need to, you don't want to bring more weeds back in. So that too, is an option. Though again, the price is a little higher. And then you get, to like manure. You've got your store brand and you've got Black Cow. And there's like Black Velvet also, that's a mushroom compost. And these can be used on the lawn too. The store brand, inexpensive. Generally it is manure and compost combined. So you may get some big pieces in there that you may have to rake out, as you're going through on the, the less expensive. Now, you get to the Black Cow, generally you're not going to have chunks. Black Cow is cow manure. That's composted cow manure.
Now, the 50-pound bag I bought for my son and his wife, $5. That seemed like a good price. It's
not a bad price, especially when you're looking at the convenience of being able to take it home, and it'll amend quite an area in the store. So, I mean, these things range anywhere from $2 for cheap topsoil, or less than $2. The lawn soil is, I want to say, about $7 or $8. The Black Cow, like $4 or $5. The cheap compost is going to be, $2.50, something. There is a price variation, but to me, you do on something like this, you are getting what you pay for. You're either possibly getting a headache by buying the lesser expensive. Got those weeds in it, if it's got the weeds already in there, you're bringing home a possible problem. If it's in a flower bed, it might not be so big of an issue, but if it's out in the lawn, it's a different thing. So when you're looking to do some of that, repair out in the lawn, is take a look and see if it's a small area. It's worth the $5 or the $7 for the bag of good mix, whether lawn soil or Black Cow, because you're not going to be pulling weeds later. At least not not ones that you brought home with you.
So I want you to answer the question that I asked you off the air.
Right.
It's regarding the placement of lawn clippings onto an area that's going to be used later on for a garden. And I don't know if it's going to be a vegetable or a flower garden. I think it's vegetables.
Probably going to be vegetables, just the placement.
So you had an interesting answer to that. Do you place the lawn clippings on that place where there's going to be a garden? And your answer was?
My answer was you can. You just usually want to work that back down into the ground. say, actually, the best answer is mow the grass enough and let the grass clippings stay on the lawn to feed the lawn. That's the ultimate thing to do, is that you're mowing often enough that those grass clippings are fine enough that the lawn soil will reabsorb that, take the nutrition, and feed the grass. If you aren't mowing often enough and you're going to have some big clippings that would be a problem on the lawn, moving them elsewhere, putting them into the vegetable garden. Thing with putting fresh grass clippings in any fresh green material, because that's just part of compost, is your green material, is it can steal nitrogen from that soil initially. For a short period, until that begins, as the process of breaking down happens. So if you're going to use the grass clippings into the vegetable garden in order to amend the soil, is I would spread them out and rake them in, or take and just turn them over a little bit to get them into the soil so it doesn't begin to mat up or anything like that. The other thing is that you have to watch for, and I didn't think of this, is make sure that you're not using anything with the herbicides on that lawn, or even because that's going to be in those grass clippings when you put it in there, and that may not break down completely. And when you go later, 3 months down the line, to plant vegetables, it could still be in that garden plot because it was in the grass. But if you're not treating the grass for weeds or anything like that, there's not a concern on that. But usually mow often enough that the clippings can stay put. Just leave them there, and if you have leaves to rake up and you're not going to use them around the trees and shrubs or down the fence to keep the weeds out of the fence, throw them too into the garden plot, that if you've got a couple months, they will break down. Or, pile them up and run them over with the lawnmower, catch them up in the catcher, dump them in there, work them into that top part of that soil, and you'll have good dirt by fall planting time.
If you have a question for Caroline, this is a good time to call. 622-WOCA is the phone number. That's the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline, 622-9622. And if I could interject my question about the beetle.
Yeah.
There was a news item that said there was a beetle in the Everglades called...
the ambrosia beetle.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it was creating some kind of a fungus that the beetle carries, and it was this beetle came here through Asia. In Georgia. Yeah, but Georgia, let's see, the port of Savannah is what I wanted to say.
Okay, yeah.
And then somehow, and the beetle's the size of a grain of rice.
Yeah.
And somehow it ended up in the Everglades, and it's eating the swamp bay trees.
Right.
Which is apparently a big problem.
And it's damaging them.
So do we have to worry about this?
It's in the Everglades. It's in South Florida.
But if it was in Savannah,
it can be.
We're between Savannah and the Everglades. What?
Well, yeah, but it more than likely, when it came in through the port, it came in on packing crates.
That's what it says.
And packing material and other plant material. So it came in the port. It didn't stay there. It was shipped elsewhere and then dispersed. We've had that issue with the Asian longhorn beetle and some of the other ones. It is something that has been known through the university and such. I think the article I have here is actually from like 2012. And the laurel wilt is a disease of the red bay, and other trees in the laurel family, which is also includes avocado, which we have quite an avocado commercial growing down in South Florida. So it can become an issue. Trying to remember, it was avocado and other related trees in urban and rural landscapes is the problem. And the ambrosia beetle is 30 beetles in Florida beneficial, but they're usually the red bay ambrosia beetle attacks healthy trees of certain species of the laurel family, particularly the red bay. More importantly, the laurel wilt fungus that accompanies the beetle causes disease in several host species.
So it's really the fungus, not the beetle.
It's not the beetle. He's just the vector.
Okay.
He's just the vector. But what you can do, if you have trees at home, I mean, here we haven't seen this up this far yet. If it starts coming up, you'll figure you're going to see it in the paper. You're going to hear about it. If you've got friends down in South Florida, you might make sure you take a look at the University of Florida's solutions for your health, and just look up laurel wilt disease, and it'll bring up a PDF file on that. And I think you can probably use one of the systemic tree and shrub products that would go through, and that would help. It may not stop it from spreading, but within the residential, because if you don't get everybody to use it, it's only effective in your own yard.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So it's one of those kind of things. And we had the southern pine beetle. Once those ones were removed from a certain area, it did stop the spread. And it could be that it could, commercially they may be able to slow it down using something like that.
It's always something, isn't it? It's always something.
It is, yeah.
And you have a phone call. Good morning. Thank you for calling in, for waiting. You're on there with Carol Ann.
Good morning, Carol Ann.
Morning.
I have a question for you. Could hydroponic raised vegetables be considered organic?
Only if you're using an organic nutritional source.
Well, where would that source come from?
Fish emulsion, kelp. I believe they've started doing what they call an aquaculture, where the water that is for the plants is actually from like koi tanks. And they're using the water from the koi tanks in order to fertilize and maintain the fish. I mean the plants.
Well, the reason I ask, because my granddaughter down in WOCA is a distributor for I don't know what you call them. She calls them towers.
Okay.
They cost $500 a piece, and she has 3 of them in her yard, and they're a big pot on the bottom with about a 1 foot diameter tube that goes up about 6 foot, and it has pockets on the side. The medium that you put in the pocket is rock wool.
Right.
And she either puts plants or seeds in them. She's raised lettuce, and she's getting tomatoes now, and she got her first cucumbers.
Nice.
The thing has a timer on it. It pumps the solution up and to the top, and it runs down and catches in these pockets on the side. And then it shuts off for a half hour and runs for 15 minutes.
Right, just recirculates that through.
But she has to buy the medium, or not the medium.
The fertilizer, the nutritional source, yeah.
Yeah, she has to buy that. Mm-hmm. And she claims it's all organic.
It could be. It could be if however she's getting it. Like I said, it could be like a fish emulsion or a kelp meal emulsion, compost tea, anything like that. But she's doing this just for her own family and household, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well,
so it doesn't have to be OMRI, and I probably got the initials wrong, listed for her own consumption. If she, but if she's buying something that they're saying, the organic materials registration OMRI listed, it is an organic product, and you can buy those online.
No. Well, she has a franchise for them. She's trying to sell them.
Right.
And she's on Facebook, and I couldn't believe that it would be organic. I thought they used chemicals in those.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. There was a hydroponic farm here in Marion County who he did not claim that his plants were grown organically, but his were grown pesticide-free, which to me, pesticide-free is much more important than where the nitrogen source came from to feed the plant. Because anything you put in for that plant can take up. That's why we have had problems, we have them every year with fresh produce having an issue with E. coli, listeria, different things like that. And sometimes it's the water that they've either been irrigated with or that they've been cleaned with before shipping. So I'm more, if I can go pesticide free or less pesticides, I don't really care where my nitrogen source comes from. The plant doesn't.
Well, one of the selling points she has is this: you have disease-free plants bugs won't attack them. Is that true?
Only if she's got them screened in, because a tomato hornworm the moth will find the plant.
No, these aren't screened in.
Yeah, and the diseases are windblown, things like that. You're going to have less. There's several different systems that are out there. Disney, Epcot has some big ones set up there. I've seen some new styles and things like that are set up for the homeowner kind of thing. And you can grow a lot of produce in something like some of these. What is it? The Vertigrow is one that looks like little styrofoam coolers that are stacked up on top of each other and have a reservoir, like you say, at the bottom, in which it pumps up and goes back through all the nutritional supply. That's a great way to go. The expenses are, to begin, can be quite high, but if you're starting, you're trying to do something, you only have a small area or you don't have time, but you want to grow your own herbs and a few vegetables. Some plants are much more designed to, or not designed, or much better in a situation like that. I see tomatoes taking up a lot of space and a lot of time in there. Usually you're running short-term, fast-growing plants that aren't massive. Because tomato plants can get pretty big.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much.
All right, well, thanks for calling in. Yeah, with the organic kind of thing going hydroponically, you can do it. Again, they at the extension office, they were running one. I don't know how successful it was going there, just because at volunteer basis, it's hard to keep up and maintain. But using the koi tanks as your fertilizer supply.
Okay.
And so that would go through and actually
fish manure,
fish emulsion, and come back through.
Fish emulsion is fish manure?
Fish manure, fish manure. Fish emulsion I think has some extra stuff in it too, but ground up byproduct.
I always thought it was ground up fish.
I think it may be byproduct from the industry on that as well. I want to not forget. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes a lot of sense.
I want to not forget to mention that, like Oksana did, like I am, you want to become a master gardener?
Yeah.
Here's the orientation, and actually it's coming up. I failed on this. Important dates, Master Gardener class orientation is May the 28th, so that's next Wednesday. Next Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
From 10 to noon at the Marion County auditorium, at the extension office auditorium, from 10 to noon. You do need to block off that 2-hour time to come out, because it is that whole length of time. It's not just stop in, pick up some paperwork. Application deadlines for once you do the orientation will be June the 2nd. So you will have from the 28th to June the 2nd, to get that done. They're actually hoping people will go ahead and do the orientation and just fill out your application there. And then after that, they will have the interviews and things like that. And then, of course, the classes are then, you have to be selected to be part of the class. The only cost is for the books and materials. It's $160. The classes run from mid-August through early November, and they're on Wednesdays, and they are all day. It's a pretty intense course. It's a lot of fun, a lot of camaraderie. You meet some really neat people, and like they said, you want to increase your knowledge with training and continuous learning. Teach others through community outreach, join a family of gardeners, and no green thumb is required, because, we all start out, actually, dirty hands is, to me, the best way to go. If you need more information, call over to the Extension office at 671-8400. But that's next Wednesday, so I'll try to remember to mention that next Tuesday also during the class. And the paper I'm making notes on the back of, I was asked to mention, the Marion County Sprouts Summer Camp is coming up. It's through Extension. It's introduce your youth to the art and science of gardening at the Marion Sprouts Summer Camp. Camp runs from June the 23rd through the 27th. It's just a day camp, 8:30 to 4:30, ages 8 to 14. Let me see what the cost is. Registration deadline. Well, there's still space. we passed the deadline, but there is still space, so I was asked to mention it. It's $75 for the week, and it covers the cost of supplies. So if you're interested, you've got an 8 to 14-year-old who's interested in plants, plant growth and development, water, gardening for food, soils, garden pests. It also does some career exploration as well as plant identification and environmental horticulture. So in a way, when you get some of the stuff, you get some ideas. Like they said, career exploration is something neat.
I want to show you a picture, a photograph. This is a photograph of the trees, and that must be an overhead shot or something that are being affected by that fungus.
Yes, from the laurel wilt. Yeah,
and
those
purple
reddish
part is the affected part, apparently.
Right, that's the disease, and that's widespread.
So just for our listeners' sake, the photograph we're looking at looks like how many acres do you think that is?
Oh, gosh. 100 acres.
Large area?
Yeah, big.
And it shows
big aerial shots.
Maybe a third or a quarter of the trees affected?
I'd say at least a good third of them. And it's not a clump of them. It's almost a spreading, as...
Does it look like it affects part of the tree but not all of the tree? Or
no,
it
does the whole thing.
Oh, really?
And it could be that those ones that are grayer and those gray ones may already be dead ones that are there, that it may actually be more like 2/3 of that photo's actually been affected.
That's what's happening. This fungus that this beetle is carrying.
Yes, yeah.
It came from Asia somehow.
Came in through packing crates and things like that.
Wow.
So it's another good reason to buy in the USA.
And those trees are called swamp bay leaves.
Yeah, they're the swamp
trees.
bays. Right.
Swamp bay trees.
And the economic portion of that is not just, that there is the Everglades. It's part of the Seminole Indian, reserve and such, but also it will affect avocado as well. And we have an economic interest in the state of Florida for avocado. And so, and other plants that it's going to do some damage to within the homeowner's area. And I can't really see my screen there, but once I make the picture too big, you can't really see it. If you go to that IFAS page, I'm not going to try to read you off the numbers to it, but it shows a map of possibility of a little bit of some of the effect of it. I can't quite see because I can't make the screen big enough without clouding without blurring the picture up. But it's got a lot of the eastern part of the state into the central part of the state, and I believe Marion County is on there. We're not heavily affected, I don't believe, but it's in some surrounding areas, commercial landscapes and groves. As experts fear that the red bay beetle and laurel wilt will spread through the range of red bay trees into South Florida and attack avocado trees grown in home landscapes and in commercial groves in Miami-Dade County. The map showing the spread of the laurel wilt in Florida notes several counties above Miami-Dade do not have laurel wilt at this time, indicating the disease moved to Miami-Dade in contaminated wood products. People who camp, sometimes you want to bring your own firewood to locations. Many places, it's discouraged from doing it unless you have purchased firewood. And one of the reasons is you don't know whether or not you're carrying a pest with you.
That makes sense.
And if you're camping in state and county parks or federal parks, you could be bringing a problem with you.
That's a good thing to remember.
And so if you can put, you realize, they don't charge you that much at a campground to buy a bucket of wood for fire.
Right.
Or you can go and you can purchase firewood. Purchased firewood at the Walmart, at the big box store is generally inexpensive enough. So we'll, go with that.
Okay. Carol,
sounds like we're at a time.
We've got to run. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
And we'll look forward to next week. Stay tuned. Right now, we'll take a break. Fox News is coming up. This is WOCA Ocala.
Everyone was there.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Voters in 6 states making their choices in primary races that could help decide control of the Senate. One of the key Republican races in Georgia.
Recent polls show that the establishment candidate, businessman David Perdue, is leading this crowded field that also includes Congressman Jack Kingston and 3 candidates with a measure of Tea Party support, the former Secretary of State Karen Handel and Congressmen Paul Brown and Phil Gingrich.
Fox's John Roberts. In San Diego County, one of the most destructive wildfires could be fully contained in a few days, but there are dangers elsewhere.
Red flag warnings remain in effect from the southwest to the southern plains as relative humidities remain very low. Fire weather watches also remain posted across parts of Arizona and New Mexico.
Fox meteorologist Maria Molina, Fox News. We report, you decide.
Right now at Napa, get your favorite flavor of Valvoline Conventional or Max Life Motor Oil for just $3.59 a quart. Buy 5 quarts and you'll also get a $7 mail-in rebate. Yep, $7. Enough to get a plate of bacon with a side of bacon smothered in bacon. Now that's tasty. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 5/31/14.
And now, another golf confessional brought to you by Golfsmith. A man told us every time he tees off, he hires a gallery to scream, "It's in the hole!" just like the fans on TV. This started after he went to Golfsmith and picked up the Callaway HX bite balls with tour-level spin. He got 2 dozen for $35. He said if he's going to stop the ball on the green like a tour player, he wants fans like a tour player. Pick up the Callaway HX bite balls, 2 dozen for $35, exclusively at Golfsmith.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
As a rule, bad news should always be delivered in person or by phone, especially at work. Those without strong social circles are twice as likely to die early. In fact, loneliness can reduce our lifespan just as much as smoking can. The white noise generated by a fan prevents random sounds from disturbing your sleep. And when we've had a good night's sleep, our bodies produce less of the I'm hungry hormone, ghrelin.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Coming August 8th and 9th, the first annual Ocala Bike Fest. How would you like a chance to win a 2014 Harley Street Glide? How about a 2014 Indian Chief Vintage? The tickets are only $100 each, and each chance drawing has only 599 tickets. Now that is some great odds. All proceeds go to ARC. Questions, call 387-2210. The number again is 387-2210. Ocala Bike Fest. We'll see you there.
Hey, I'm Gary. And I'm Eric. Did you know that Red Eye Radio is on WOCA The Source every night from 2 to 6 a.m. and it's live?
That's right. No tape shows here.
We know that the news doesn't sleep.
And neither do we. So we're here with you live from 2 till 6 a.m. every weekday. Call us 866-90-RED-EYE. So join me, Gary McNamara.
And me, Eric Harley, every weeknight to discuss the latest in news and entertainment.
Right here on WOCA The Source.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean, I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, and a new spoiler, and a new trunk.
We can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Life jackets save lives. Wear it, Florida. Today will be partly sunny with a refreshing breeze in the afternoon. The high 81 on the coast, 86 inland. Mainly clear tonight, low 59 and a few inland spots, 68 along the coast. Sunshine tomorrow, high 82 at the beaches, 89 inland. And for Thursday, plenty of sunshine, high 87 at the coast, 92 inland. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Do you have areas that have started sagging or drooping? Is what you're looking at not quite the same as it was years ago? Are there enhancements you've been putting off? Is there serious damage you need fixed? Then call on us, Damage Control Services. When your roof is sagging and the drywall is drooping after a storm, or your home just needs some enhancements, from damage repairs to new construction, Damage Control Services is here to help.
Coming August 8th and 9th, the first annual Ocala Bike Fest. How would you like a chance to win a 2014 Harley Street Glide? How about a 2014 Indian Chief Vintage? The tickets are only $100 each, and each chance drawing has only 599 tickets. Now that is some great odds. All proceeds go to ARC. Questions, call 387-2210. The number again is 387-2210. Ocala Bike Fest. We'll see you there.
Time
Time again for the Silver Springs Lions Train Show, June 14th and 15th at the National Guard Armory, 900 Southwest 20th Street in Ocala. Times are 9 to 4 on Saturday, 10 to 3 on Sunday. $4 admission for adults, children 12 and under, free with a paying adult. You bring in a can of food or a non-perishable item, it's $1 off admission. Come join us for operating train layouts, new and old trains, good food, and just a lot of fun. See you at the show.
All right, thank you. 6 minutes after 10 o'clock, as most of you know, on Thursdays we broadcast a program here that is hosted by Hank Whittier, who is the head of Veterans Helping Veterans, and the show is called Veterans News. And a few weeks ago, a news item came across that we shared with Hank, and it was the first time he had seen it, and it was regarding like a secret list or something like that, a waiting list of veterans at a VA in, was it Phoenix, Arizona? Mm-hmm. And so, you know, the first look, it says, okay, they've got a problem out in Phoenix. It turns out it's the whole country.
Yeah.
Turns out there's an issue at the veterans VA clinics across the country. Jacob Gadd is on the phone. He is a U.S. Navy veteran. He's a deputy director for health of the American Legion's Veterans Affairs and Rehabilitation Division, and I don't know how to even begin with this subject. I mean, there's so many questions we have. How could it be such a rampant thing? You would think that how could one part of an organization be copycatting the bad things of another part? Mm-hmm. You know, without somebody raising a red flag somewhere. Jacob Gadd, it's an honor to have you on our show. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, where are you, first of all? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the American Legion's headquarters in Washington, D.C.
Oh, okay. So what happened? I mean, how is this possible? And this has been going on for years?
This has, and, you know, we've, beyond the issues currently being investigated in Phoenix, the Legion has tried to work with the Secretary and the officials here in Washington. But this request for the resignation of the Secretary comes amid problems across the country at multiple sites. You know, we found that there were 6 patient deaths due to delayed screenings in Columbia, South Carolina. Similar thing happened in Augusta, Georgia. 5 patients died in Pittsburgh VA Medical Center from an outbreak of Legionella. And so we've seen widespread failures, and we're asking that, you know, the President and Congress hold accountability and performance at the top levels, and you know, we feel this leadership change needs to start at the top.
Okay, and his name is Eric Shinseki. Is that how you say his name?
That's correct.
Eric Shins. Okay, now I don't know enough about it to even be devil's advocate, but I'm going to do that just for the sake of your answer. How do we know that that we're not using him as a scapegoat? How do we know to pin it on him?
Well, what changed for us was a year ago. You know, we've come out and supported the Secretary in his work with the GI Bill and moving claims from paper system to automated system. But what's happened in the last year, Larry, is that a lot of different hospitals have come forward with problems, and you know, we're seeing multiple whistleblowers coming forward and saying that there's gaming of scheduling practices, and that veterans are waiting and dying for care. And the American Legions conducted site visits around the country and found from many of the veterans and the families that we spoke to that something has to change, and that, you know, this is unconscionable that these are our veterans that serve our country and come back and are waiting in line to die.
So is it fair to say that the whistleblowers were trying to get the attention of Eric Shinseki, but he was not responding? Is that why we're pinning it on him?
Well, if you look at it purely from just if it was one hospital and it was one region, you know, you could look at that hospital administrator,
right.
You could look at that regional director, but when you have widespread problems to the level that this is created, and this has happened now today, this is a leadership problem in Washington, D.C. that we have to fix. And, you know, Representative and Chairman of the House Veterans Affairs Committee, Jeff Miller, introduced the bill, H.R. 4031, to give the Secretary the tools to hold these hospitals accountable. Now, I'd also point out that at the same time that these hospitals are having these deaths of veterans that are preventable, mind you, these same executives are receiving bonuses.
That is a shame. Now, is the treatment that is deplorable applicable only to like the older vets, the World War II vets, or are our young vets getting the same kind of mistreatment or the waiting list thing. Are they on that waiting list thing too?
It's not particularly an error of service. That we know a lot of veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan have come back and are receiving care in the VA, but we've seen every different era of veteran that's had to wait, and this is unacceptable, and that we expect when there's errors at a site that those hospital executives are held accountable and swift action is taken. And all we have seen from the Secretary is another IG investigation and another review. There's another nationwide face-to-face clinical audit. What we don't need is reviews. We need to fix these problems, and we need to make sure that these veterans are getting in, and their lives depend on that.
When the veterans are told that they're going to be placed on a waiting list and they won't have care right away, why can't the veterans just go to another hospital that's not a VA hospital, go there, tell their doctor that they're on a waiting list, and the hospital and those doctors take care of them, and then that hospital just send the bill to the U.S. government or send the bill to the VA?
It's a great question, and it's one that we're looking at very closely. I mean, we know that, and what VA told us in Phoenix was that before Sharon Hellman was director there 18 months ago, that veterans waited over 100 days to get in for a primary care appointment, and that number had been reduced to 55. But we said that 55 days isn't good enough, and what are you doing to contract out some of this care? And there's an old bureaucracy within the VA system that does not contract out for primary care. So they'll contract out for specialty care, but they won't do that for primary. And we said that some of those rules need to change to make sure that we're getting veterans in when they need to be seen. And it's not about counting how fast the veteran gets in the system, but triaging them and making sure that the ones that need it the most get in the fastest.
Jacob Gadd is our guest, and I know you've got a very short visit with us, Jacob, but I want to ask you if you would like to speak to our listeners. We do have the phones ringing. Do you want to take a call or two?
Sure.
Yeah, are you okay with that? Okay. Good morning. You're on the air with Jacob Gadd.
Good morning, Mr. Gadd. I used to, as a social worker, 40 years ago, I had the same problems with the VA, and I think, I'll get your opinion on this. I think the problem is systemic. I mean, this is something that's been going on for a long, it's just really becoming something that everybody in the public begin to know about. But this problem didn't just start, and it is very hard to fire somebody that's in the VA administration, especially when you look at the fact that when we first got involved with just the Defense Department itself alone, anything that has to do with that, I mean, they lost, when we first got involved with Afghanistan and Iraq, they lost $96 billion that they never audited, that couldn't be accounted for. That was during Bush Cheney, and then recently, during the Obama administration, there was another $60 billion that the Department of Defense just lost. So I would argue that this whole thing with the VA, it's not new, it's systemic, and there's going to have to be rule, whether you get rid of General Shinseki or not, you're going to have to let whoever replace him, they're going to have the ability to go in and fire people. And I can tell you, it's not, having worked with the VA for years and years and years, it ain't easy to do. Have a good day.
Thank you for the call. And Jacob, you talk as long as you want, but I know my notes say you've got to run real quick, so whatever you need to do here. And we need a website so we can give it to our listeners.
Yeah, and if I can respond, so the American Legion is nonpartisan, and that this is, we understand the VA has been given funding, at unprecedented levels under President Obama. But the difference is that, like we mentioned, within the last year, there's been widespread hospital, deaths of veterans, and so there's two things here. One is that change needs to happen at the top of the system, and that change needs to hold each of these hospitals accountable in a way that has not been done over the last year. The second is supporting Chairman Miller's bill on accountability, which would give the tools to the Secretary to be able to demote and fire senior executive services who have failed to perform their jobs.
Jacob, a lot of the talking heads that we've been paying attention to, at least in radio, seem to be on the same page as you are. So it's good to hear from the American Legion regarding this. What's a good website for our listeners to go to?
Sure, they can visit www.legion.org, and on that website, and in the front of it, we've got basically all of the information about what's happening in Phoenix and around different sites around the country. We're continuously trying to keep veterans informed. Tomorrow we'll be at a press conference in support of the Management Accountability Act of 2014, and that we want to hear from veterans across the country on your care and how the VA can continuously improve. And for us, Phoenix wasn't the first straw, it was the last straw, and the American Legion expects when errors and lapses are discovered, they're dealt with swiftly, and that these responsible parties are held accountable, and that we appreciate veteran service and want to make sure that they get the highest quality and timeliness of care.
Yeah, absolutely. Jacob, it's an honor. Thank you so much for being on with us. Jacob Gadd. The website that Jacob gave us is legion.org for the American Legion.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that. Yes.
Thank you, Larry, and thank you for allowing the Legion to be on your show today, and have a great day.
Oh, you're welcome, and you too. We'll take a little break. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Sam Roberts with Air Ducts Heating and Air. I've been in the air conditioning business for years, but just recently my wife and I decided to open our own business. It's a difficult economic environment, but praise God, we've been doing just fine. And I'd like to take this time to thank all of my customers. I'd also like to invite you to give Air Ducts Heating and Air a try. You see, I don't have the high overhead of having 30 trucks on the road, dozens of employees, etc. And that means I can give you the absolute lowest rock bottom price on your new AC system. When you call Air Ducts Heating and Air,
304-6766. That's 304-6766.
I personally will come to your home and give you a free, no obligation in-home estimate. Air Ducts Heating and Air is a family-owned and operated business, and it'll be our pleasure to help keep your family comfortable.
Call today, 304-6766. That's 304-6766.
Call today for your free in-home estimate. License number CAC 1817288.
Coming August 8th and 9th, the first annual Ocala Bike Fest. How would you like a chance to win a 2014 Harley Street Glide? How about a 2014 Indian Chief Vintage? The tickets are only $100 each, and each chance drawing has only 599 tickets. Now that is some great odds. All proceeds go to ARC. Questions, call 387-2210. The number again is 387-2210. Ocala Bike Fest. We'll see you there.
Hi, Danny Werfel here. You don't have to sacrifice convenience for local personal service.
At Florida Credit Union, you can transfer your high credit card balances to our rewards card and actually get paid with cash back. You'll enjoy low rates and a customizable card that fits your lifestyle for free.
Never tried a credit union? Maybe it's time for a new game plan.
The Florida Credit Union Wave Card, connecting your money to your life.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others by visiting the Habitat for Humanity Ocala Restore at 926 Northwest 27th Avenue. To schedule a donation, give us a call at 401-0075 and we'll come pick it up. For more information, visit ocalarestore.org. Habitat for Humanity of Marion County. Building homes, building hope, building community.
Stay informed on everything going on in the Villages with the Village Spectator newspaper. The Village Spectator is exclusively devoted to the Villages with news, commentary, and more. And yes, they have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company that fits your needs, and all we ask is that you tell them where you heard about them. Call Tom's Picks at 804-1223 and pick up your copy of the Village Spectator today.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
All right, thank you. It's 9 minutes. 9 minutes. It's 21 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. I don't know if you know this or not, but the blue jeans have been around for 141 years. Today is the anniversary of the blue jean. Today is May 20th, according to my notes here. Kim Kitchings is on the phone. She's the vice president for corporate strategy and program metrics at Cotton Incorporated. And I just have a feeling that there's a connection between Cotton Incorporated and the first pair of blue jeans. Good morning, Kim. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great, Larry and Robin. Thank you for having me.
I'm not wearing...
You're exactly right.
I'm not wearing blue jeans. I'm wearing denim, though. Does that count?
Well, it does count. And a denim maybe in the form of a top or shorts or something else?
No, not shorts. I'm wearing like black jeans. I guess they're considered black.
Blue jeans, but they're black.
They're blue jeans, but they're black, yeah.
Yes, that absolutely counts.
Okay. So they started out as blue. Was there a reason for the blue?
Well, indigo dyeing in the denim is why, and that's what they used historically 140 years ago by Levi Strauss.
Ah, okay. Is there a story behind this? How did this? What's interesting is it became an American thing, didn't it?
It absolutely did, and it first started as very durable workwear for people, and then as the years passed, it became more of a rebel type phase.
Right.
In the fashion industry, everything we do now is denim or can be called denim. When the truth is, it's not necessarily what the original definition of denim was, but because it's so popular and such an icon, everything now is referred to denim.
And did we have a zipper back then, or was it buttons?
I don't know. There were rivets, without a doubt. That's where they first began. But I don't know if it also had a zipper. That's interesting. We'll have to look that up.
We don't know how they opened them up.
Fly jeans.
Yeah.
I guess fortunately I wasn't around then.
yeah. Right.
Is the cotton industry trying to make cotton a comeback instead of the synthetic materials?
Sure. A couple of years ago, we had a historical run in raw cotton prices that concerned many of the retailers and brands. And to save their margins, they looked at doing different things. And one of the things they did was fiber substitution. And that was in all apparel, but certainly in denim jeans, too. And so they started using less expensive fibers like polyester and nylon and even rayon in some cases to substitute for cotton. And they thought, well, maybe consumers wouldn't notice. But more than two-thirds of consumers have told us they absolutely have noticed, and they're paying more and getting less out of their apparel. And they want cotton to return because they know how to take care of it, they know it's comfortable, and it doesn't have some of the issues that these synthetic fibers have.
And you would think in today's world where everybody wants everything to be, they call it green nowadays, right, or organic, you would think you'd want to switch from synthetic and go back to what the natural stuff is, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And some people may or may not know this, some of your listeners, but man-made fibers like polyester require chemical conversion because it's derived from oil. Or then you have a fiber called rayon that's derived from tree pulp. So to get it into the yarn state, you have to do many different things to it. Cotton is a natural product that grows from the ground, and the flower turns into this bowl and opens up, and the fiber comes out. And you can spin it and then weave it into fabric, and it becomes a textile product.
So we had a campaign for a while now where we were encouraging, I don't mean we, just Robin and I, but I mean kind of everybody in media was having this campaign to buy American. So if we had a campaign to buy cotton, would it switch things around?
Well, we would love for it to, absolutely. And, I don't think that buy American and buy cotton are mutually exclusive because the U.S. is the third largest producer of cotton in the world, but the U.S. is the largest exporter of raw cotton as well. So there are a lot of benefits, yes, absolutely, to buying cotton.
So is the cotton in the U.S. grown mostly down here in the Southeast?
It is. There are 17 states that grow cotton, and Texas grows more than half of it in the United States.
Oh, really? So the South is what you would say, not the Southeast. Texas would be the South,
yes,
right?
I think, yeah, it would be mainly the South.
And there have been great strides made in the eradication of the insects that have plagued the cotton fields also.
Absolutely. You know, and some of the questions, there's a lot of misinformation out there about things such as pesticides and protectants. But one of the things I think it's really important for your listeners to know is that when that cotton boll opens up to show the white fiber that you may have seen and know of, at that time there are no insects attracted to that. So there's no pesticides applied to that.
Oh, really?
So once it goes into the yarn, yes. And so you don't have any of that at that time. So there's a lot of information regarding the sustainability of cotton that you can find on our website that could be of interest to your listeners.
Speaking of listeners, I think I have a caller coming in. If you're okay with taking a call, I know you've got a brief visit with us today. Good morning. Thank you for calling. You're on the air with Kim Kitchings.
Good morning, Ms. Kitchens. The point of the matter is we've got to get our government to realize we should have our manufacturing plants for cotton, i.e. clothing, etc., what other, there's a lot of other cotton products actually being manufactured, but it's all done someplace else. And it's just a matter of giving the same tax breaks to our factories in this country as we give to foreign countries. And I'll hang up and listen to that. Just imagine how much we could do and how much cotton we'd have if we did that. Thank you.
All right, Kim, what do you say about that? You agree?
Thank you. Well, I think it's important to understand some of the changes that have occurred. For example, since September of last year, there has been reported $793 million investment in the spinning and manufacturing industry in the Southeast. That's the creation of about 1,950 jobs coming back to the U.S. So there is some good news on that front, that there are some changes coming.
That is good news, yeah. And the more we think about it, the more we try to do what's right for everybody, the more it makes sense to try to pay attention to some of these things. And so I want to make sure, because in a short interview, we don't usually get enough information to answer all of the questions. Does the website that you have, if you have one, give us the information we would need to learn more?
Absolutely, and we do have, in fact, we have several websites, but the main one you can go to access other information is www.cottoninc.com. And there you can learn about everything from sustainability to production of cotton to everything you could have wanted to know, and then more about what goes into cotton. But I also would like your listeners to know, because of the Denim Jeans birthday, that there is a program sponsored by the cotton industry called Blue Jeans Go Green, and you can donate your used denim jeans, cotton denim jeans, to be recycled into denim insulation and used to help organizations like Habitat for Humanity. It's a wonderful program and make you very comfortable in denim jean purchases and the end of life.
Oh, wow. Well, that is cool. And all of that information is on cottoninc.com?
Yes, it is, and that program's called Blue Jeans Go Green, but there's much more information there, too, available.
Okay, excellent. Kim, we just ran out of time, but that was some great information in a short period of time. Thank you so much for being on the air with us today, and happy birthday to my pants.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Voters in 6 states making their choices in primary races that could help decide control of the Senate. One of the key Republican races in Georgia.
Recent polls show that the establishment candidate, businessman David Perdue, is leading this crowded field that also includes Congressman Jack Kingston and 3 candidates with a measure of Tea Party support: the former Secretary of State Karen Handel and Congressmen Paul Brown and Phil Gingrich.
Fox's John Roberts. In San Diego County, one of the most destructive wildfires could be fully contained in a few days, but there are dangers elsewhere.
Red flag warnings remain in effect from the southwest to the southern plains as relative humidities remain very low. Fire weather watches also remain posted across parts of Arizona and New Mexico.
Fox meteorologist Maria Molina. Fox News. We report, you decide.
Right now at Napa, get your favorite flavor of Valvoline Conventional or Max Life Motor Oil for just $3.59 a quart. Buy 5 quarts and you'll also get a $7 mail-in rebate. Yep, $7. Enough to get a plate of bacon with a side of bacon smothered in bacon. Now that's tasty. Conquer the job with Napa Know-How. General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 5/31/14.
And now, another golf confessional brought to you by Golfsmith. A man told us every time he tees off, he hires a gallery to scream, "It's in the hole!" just like the fans on TV. This started after he went to Golfsmith and picked up the Callaway HX bite balls with tour-level spin. He got 2 dozen for $35. He said if he's going to stop the ball on the green like a tour player, he wants fans like a tour player. Pick up the Callaway HX bite balls, 2 dozen for $35, exclusively at Golf.
Hi, this is Sam Roberts with Air Ducts Heating and Air. I've been in the air conditioning business for years, but just recently my wife and I decided to open our own business. It's a difficult economic environment, but praise God, we've been doing just fine. And I'd like to take this time to thank all of my customers. I'd also like to invite you to give Air Ducts Heating and Air a try. You see, I don't have the high overhead of having 30 trucks on the road, dozens of employees, etc. And that means I can give you the absolute lowest rock bottom price on your new AC system. When you call Air Ducts Heating and Air,
304-6766. That's 304-6766.
I personally will come to your home and give you a free, no obligation in-home estimate. Air Ducts Heating and Air is a family-owned and operated business, and it'd be our pleasure to help keep your family comfortable.
Call today, 304-6766. That's 304-6766.
Call today for your free in-home estimate. License number CAC 1817288.
Coming August 8th and 9th, the first annual Ocala Bike Fest. How would you like a chance to win a 2014 Harley Street Glide? How about a 2014 Indian Chief Vintage? The tickets are only $100 each, and each chance drawing has only 599 tickets. Now that is some great odds. All proceeds go to ARC. Questions, call 387-2210. The number again is 387-2210. Ocala Bike Fest. We'll see you there.
Hi, Danny Werfel here. You don't have to sacrifice convenience for local personal service.
At Florida Credit Union, you can transfer your high credit card balances to our rewards card and actually get paid with cash back. You'll enjoy low rates and a customizable card that fits your lifestyle for free.
Never tried a credit union? Maybe it's time for a new game plan.
The Florida Credit Union Wave Card, connecting your money to your life.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others by visiting the Habitat for Humanity Ocala Restore at 926 Northwest 27th Avenue. To schedule a donation, give us a call at 401-0075 and we'll come pick it up. For more information, visit ocalarestore.org. Habitat for Humanity of Marion County. Building homes, building hope, building community.
News Talk 1370, WOCA invites you to discover your full business potential. News Talk Radio is the perfect environment for your advertising. WOCA's News Talk format pinpoints information-hungry, better educated, high-income adults, so use us to talk to them. Call 732-8000, 732-8000. We're Ocala News Talk Radio. News Talk 1370, WOCA.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.